Welcome back to the Crochet with Kelsey channel. Crochet custom pet plushies are not only an amazing gift for friends and family, but they're also a great way to make some extra income for your crochet small business. People love their pets and people love having little plushies and things to remind them of their pets. In this video today, I'm going to be showing you how to take a picture of a pet and translate it over to a pattern. So this is really great, especially for mixed breed animals that there might not be a lot of crochet patterns out there for. And also if you like a specific pattern, but they don't have the color changes and the ear type and everything that that breed has, I'm going to show you how I make my custom pet plushies in this video. So I've made quite a few custom pet plushies in my crochet lifetime. For example, last year, my best friend ordered about 6 plushies from me that were all of the different pets in her family. So there was like 2 dogs and 3 cats and then like a truck or something for some reason, but 5 of those were some different animals that I had to kind of improvise, and I tried to make them look as close as possible to the actual animal. I also get some other custom orders for pets. I know that people absolutely love to have custom plushies of their pets. And one of the most special customs that I recently did was for my mom. Our border collie mix that I had grown up with had passed away at the age of 12, so she lived a really good life. So I just wanted to make my mom a plushie to just celebrate the life of the dog, and so that we'll always remember her. So today I'm going to be showing you an example of the steps I would take to make a custom pet plushie. And I'm going to show you that it's possible on any pattern because I'm going to try it on a new pattern that I've never used before. So the very first thing that you want to do, especially if you're making this for a pet that you don't know or doesn't live with you, or just you don't like know off the top of your head exactly, you know, their color patterns and what they look like, you're going to want to get pictures from every single angle. I'm talking the front, you want both sides, and you want the back. And this is especially important for me, at least, whenever the animals have some interesting, you know, distinctive markings, or they have just a unique color pattern and you really want to try to capture that. At least I do whenever I make custom pets, because I want them to look as close to the actual pet as possible. So I'm about to go downstairs. In this example that I'm doing today, I'm going to be making a custom Bonnie. Bonnie is my Rottweiler Lab boxer mix, and she has some unique coloring, and she's probably most similar to a Rottweiler, which I've made before, but I've never actually made a true Bonnie plushie. So that's what I'm going to challenge myself with today and kind of show you all the steps that I take to make it as close to her as possible. So hopefully it turns out good, because it's going to be really embarrassing if it doesn't. So I'm about to go downstairs and show you my process for getting some photos. So you can either ask your friend, family member, or customer, whoever you're making the plushie for, to send you these pictures from all the different angles. Or if it's someone you're close with, or if it's your own pet, obviously you can just take these pictures yourself, because I've noticed that a lot of times I ask for pictures and the customers will send like a couple from a couple different angles, but I'm like, okay, well, what does his like back right leg look like? Because I just want to make sure, you know, it's all as accurate as possible. So let's go take some pictures of Bonnie, and hopefully this goes smoothly. So I know that I live with Bonnie and I could obviously just look at her, but for the sake of this video, I want to take pictures, and I don't know, maybe it's gonna be, I don't know, maybe she'll be outside or something and I'm not gonna be able to look at her in the moment that I need her, so I think it'll be good to have these pictures. Can you sit? So this is my dog, Bonnie. Hopefully she'll turn around and show you her face in a little bit, but I'm going to try to get pictures of her from her front, back, and her left and right side, just so that I can have it as a color guide. Can you come over here? Nose down. Can you sit? Look over there. Yeah, go say hi. Okay, come here. Don't knock over the camera, oh my God. All right, sit, sit, stay, 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 stay. Oh, Bonnie, no jumping. Nope, sit, stay. Good girl. I think Bonnie deserves a treat. Sit. Shake. Roll over. Can you roll? Roll over. Bonnie, lay down. Roll over. Oh, good enough. Good job. Good job, Bonnie. Max heard me recording Bonnie down there and now he's all jealous, so I had to put a little clip of him in too. If you haven't seen some of my earlier YouTube videos, I have to keep Max and Bonnie separated, so that's why I'm constantly going up and down the stairs. Yeah, we're like 80% sure that Bonnie wants to eat Max, so we just keep them separate just to be safe. So obviously Bonnie is decently obedient, so she was able to just sit and I could tell her to stay and I was able to get all the pictures that I needed. Here are the examples of the pictures that I will probably use. I like to narrow it down between about 4 to 6 photos just so that I have like a few different reference points, but I don't want really any more than that because then I'm just gonna be flipping through photos almost the entire time, stitch by stitch. So 4 to 6 is what I would aim for, and that's also what I would ask for whenever you are working with a customer to make a custom pet of theirs. After you get the photos, it's time for what I think is maybe one of the most important parts of the custom pet plushie process, and that is yarn. So depending on the type of animal that you're making, you might want to switch up the yarn type that you're using. But honestly, what dictates most of the yarn that I use for custom pet plushies is the color. So my standard yarn is Himalaya Dolphin Baby. I use that for most of my projects. But if they, for some reason, don't have that color, or maybe it's like a multicolored dog or cat, I'll have to kind of adjust based on that. Like, for example, one of my friends has a golden doodle that's like super fluffy, so I use fluffy yarn for that one. And fluffy yarn is a great option for any long-haired dog or cat, in my opinion. And if you can handle working with fluffy yarn and you don't get annoyed with it, I think that it's a really good option to make a super cute pet plushie. But I've also run into other issues such as the animals being multicolored. For example, I did it was like an orange and black mixed cat, and I know it's called brindle if it's like brown and black. I don't know if that's the same case for orange and black, but anyway, it was kind of like a brindle pattern. So I was like, how the heck am I gonna do this? Like, I can't find any like brindle yarns. So I ended up using 2 strands for the entire project. Since I was using 2 strands, I ended up using like a worsted weight yarn because whenever you use more than 1 strand, it's going to be thicker. So if I was to make it in my Himalaya Dolphin Baby chenille yarn that I typically use, it would be ginormous and like double the size that I was aiming for. So those are just some things to think about. But whenever I need some inspiration for different yarns, I will go to Amazon to browse typically to kind of just like see what's out there. And then if I want to do an order from somewhere else, I always can. But I noticed that Amazon has such a wide variety of yarns that if you're looking for something super specific, it's a good place to start. I also think it's important to match the colors as closely as possible. So if I'm making a dog that's 3 different colors and it's like a orangey brown, and my orangey brown in Himalaya Dolphin Baby doesn't necessarily match close enough, in my opinion, I might go to another yarn brand and just totally buy new yarn. And if someone is paying you to make this like for a custom order, I always think it's important to check with them before you start with the colors you're thinking, regardless of if you've ordered it yet or not, because you don't want to make the whole plushie and then they say, oh, you know, that brown looks off or something like that. So it's just really important on custom orders in general to just kind of check everything beforehand to make sure you're not kind of screwing yourself over by making something that the customer doesn't want. So I always check with the customers, and usually they say, yeah, that looks fine. Or if I'm like in between two options, I'll say, do you like this option or this option better? And then I go with whatever they tell me, because at the end of the day, you know, I want it to look as close to their pet as possible. And sometimes whenever people send you photos, you can't really see exactly what color it is if there's like weird shadowing. So it's always just good to check with the customer. And obviously, if it's an animal that you've met and know, it will be probably a lot easier to find the true colors. So for my Bonnie plushie, I'm very lucky because she is only a mix of 3 colors, but she is brindle as well. So that's gonna be a little tricky, but I'm going to use Himalaya Dolphin Baby. I thought that this brown was pretty spot on with her brindle color. And then I'm going to use obviously black for the rest of her, besides her little eyebrows and her paws and like her little brown spots that she has on her. And my sweet baby Bonnie is a 7-year-old girl, and she's gray on her nose, so I'm going to use this gray to match that. So I was really going back and forth between this light gray or white, and I decided to go with the light gray because it is slightly more gray than white, but I think this is like the lightest gray I'm gonna find, and I'm not going to shop around for an even lighter gray. But I think it matches close enough, and I think that it'll be extremely cute. So here's the color palette that I'm going to use for my little custom Bonnie plush. And since she has, you know, the brindle, which is like the brown and black mixed together kind of on her legs, what I'm gonna try to do is I have this, like, I'm pretty sure it's fingerling weight yarn. So it's very thin and it shouldn't change the size of the plushie too much if I double strand this with the brown color. So what I'm gonna try to do is crochet those together in one strand to kind of get that brindle effect. And I really hope it works. And I wanted to just kind of show you how you have to get a little creative sometimes and think a little outside the box to really make the pet plushie come to life as close to the pet as possible. So after you have all of your yarns picked out, it's time to find a pattern similar to what you like. And if you're a more experienced crocheter, you can absolutely just try freehanding your plushie. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to be using a pattern that I've never made before. This is actually a pattern that I recently got chosen to test from Posy Create, and she was nice enough to say that I could use her puppy pattern in this video to kind of show my custom pet process. And she was also very nice for allowing me to make Bonnie as my test plushie. So let me show you a picture of Chai the pup. So I thought that this would be a really good pattern because the ears are a similar size as Bonnie's, and I just think the shape of this plushie is so cute. And one of the beautiful things about pet plushies is that they're kind of stylized, so it's not like you're trying to make an exact replica of your pet. You can kind of like have some fun with it and just try to make it as close as possible to resemble your pet. It's obviously not gonna look exactly like your real pet, but it's gonna be like a cutesy stylized version. But I'm super excited to make a little Bonnie version of Chai the pup. This pattern is so cute, and I knew I had to test it as soon as I saw it. So like I said, I've never made this pattern before, but I'm gonna go through and show you step by step how I'm gonna make this plushie look like Bonnie. So for a dog like Bonnie, I would probably start with the simplest parts to crochet, such as her ears that are black, her tail that is black, and her head, which is mostly black with a little bit of gray and brindle on the sides. So I'm going to start on this project tonight, and I will be back tomorrow, hopefully with a few pieces done, and I will show you piece by piece what I did to make it look as close to Bonnie's photos as possible. And I am so excited to see the final result, and I hope you guys are too. And hopefully it turns out cute, or like I said, this video is gonna be super embarrassing. Oh my gosh, I can't believe my hair was messed up that whole time. That's okay. Also, I know my face probably looks really interesting. I got a facial today, so that's why I don't usually look this greasy, but things happen, you know? I have other things in my life to do than film this YouTube video, but this was also the only day I could film the YouTube video, so sorry about that. Anyway, I'll see you guys later, and I will show you my progress and explain how I got there. So I made a decent amount of progress on my custom pup last night. I went ahead and made the most straightforward parts first, which are the parts that are all black. So I ended up making her little ears and her tail. So I always like to start with what's easiest to get out of the way, just so that whenever I am done and after being tired from making so many color changes throughout the pattern, I already have these made and I can just assemble them onto the piece. I also finished her little legs. So what I did with the legs is I looked at the pictures that I had of Bonnie, and I noticed that probably only about a third of her foot and leg area has the brindle color, and then it transitions to a black, but it stays brindle almost all the way up on the inside. So what I did was divided the total row count into thirds, and then I made the first third of it in that nice brindle color using the little black fingerling weight yarn with the brown, and it probably didn't turn out as brindly as possible, so I might go back and add some more little black specks in there, but I'm not sure. I'll probably just have to see after it's assembled if I'm happy with it or not, but I think it's a good start. And if I had a bit of a thicker yarn in black, like maybe a worsted weight, I think it would have made more of that brindle effect, but I didn't really want to buy any more yarn for this, just because I wanted to use some stuff that I already had. So I'm happy with the way that it turned out. So since the inside of her legs were brindle, I stopped about halfway through the round to change colors, and on the back it is kind of the same. So how I did that is I saw how many stitches were in that round where I wanted to start, and I divided it by 2, and I did half of the stitches that would be on the outside of the leg in black, and then on the other side I did the brindle. So since she looks the same on both sides, I did the exact opposite for the other one. So whenever you are doing some custom colorations and you know that it's kind of mirrored on the other side of the pet, it's nice to kind of remember what you did and maybe write it down in case, you know, you have to take a break and you can't really remember off the top of your head. But overall, I think it's turning out really cute and it looks like her. So that is how I did the color changes in the legs. And since I had to kind of mirror it, it looks a little bit different right here with the black color changes, like a couple of the stitches go out a little bit farther. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to clean that up by taking the brown and black brindle yarns, and I'm gonna kind of just clean those up. And now it's time to move on to the rest of the dogs. So I will show you guys what I get done in the next couple of days, and I will also explain how I worked out the color changes to make it look like my pet. So I've been very busy today, but I did manage to finish the rest of my little Bonnie parts. So here are the little legs that I did. And I noticed on her legs, the brown stops a little bit sooner and the black starts. So in comparison to the arms, there's a little less brown on them. And I think I did a pretty good job of mimicking what hers look like. And then I also took some black yarn and some brown yarn to kind of clean up the color changes on the little toes. And even though the brindle is very subtle, I am very happy with the way that it turned out. I think It looks good for the sake of this plushie, but again, if I did want more black in there, I could have done maybe a little bit of a thicker yarn, but I didn't want to make the brindle color thicker than the black yarn because then it would look a little wonky. So those are the back paws. And then I also finished her snout. So I kind of noticed that about half of her snout down is like a white gray color, and the snout actually took me forever because I was doing it in gray and I was like, okay, something doesn't look right. And then I was like, okay, it's more of a white gray than a gray gray. So I think that the white looked a lot better. And then I also made her little head and I custom made the eyes. Whenever I'm making a custom pet, I really like to match the eye color as closely as I can. And whenever you look at the front of her face, the white kind of fades into brown. So I made sure that those color changes would line up nicely. And I put a little safety nose in there. I also finished her little body. And this was a little bit tricky because of the proportions of the plushie that I'm making, because she has a little brown patch above each of her arms, and then closer to her neck she has this brown color, so I kind of had to scrunch them together a little bit, but I wanted to make sure she had all of her markings. So that is the body. And without further ado, it is time to assemble. I just finished sewing everything together and I think the result is absolutely adorable. Like I said, this is a stylized plushie, so it's not going to look exactly like my dog, but it's just going to be similar in the colors and the markings. But it is so cute, I think. I think it looks a lot like her, and not to toot my own horn, but I think I kind of nailed the color changes. I did realize that maybe these color changes didn't matter as much as I thought they would, but she just sits like that. And I know that black yarn always looks terrible when you try to take pictures of it or you have it on camera because every little piece of fluff shows. So I will get it cleaned up at some point, but I just wanted to show you all my finished little Bonnie. And this just goes to show that you can make pretty much any pet pattern as a custom pet. It takes a lot of looking at pictures and then looking at your crochet project and kind of gauging out where the different color changes and markings are going to be. But overall, this was a super fun project. I want to thank Posy Creates for giving me the go-ahead to make this video with her pattern. And to give your custom pet a little more character, you can add a collar or a bandana. So Bonnie normally wears a purple collar, but I'm testing this pattern and there's a pattern to make a little bandana for it. So I'm gonna make the little bandana and then I will show you what it looks like. Ta-da! So I'm just gonna tie this around my little plushie. How cute is it? I love it so much. So I hope that this video kind of helped y'all. I think it turned out absolutely adorable. I will put up a final picture over here of what the plushie looks like after I cleaned it up and took the final photos of it, but I highly recommend this pattern. It's a very cute make, and I definitely want to make some more dog patterns as Bonnie in the future. So if you have any dog patterns you like, please drop them in the comments below. But this pattern by Posy Creates is absolutely adorable and I would highly recommend it. I hope this video helped y'all understand how I kind of go through my process of making a custom pet, and hopefully it can help you make some custom pets of your own. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.